This is Dr. Daniels. Could you please share a little bit about yourself?
Sure, absolutely. Well, thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about myself and a little bit about my journey getting here. But so my first name is Candelaria Daniels, and I am currently a capability area manager for battlefield pain research and sensory systems. So that's a big mouthful to say that I basically am a manager of research that focuses on a couple of main fields. So I work for the Army. Therefore, we have a very special population where we focus on injuries that service members have to endure, whether it be wartime or however they obtain those injuries. My research group focuses on solutions, medical solutions for injuries. So, like I mentioned, I'm the capability area manager for my group. I have about 32 members in my group, if I remember that number correctly. Very privileged to be a part of the group. In my group, I have military members, so other military scientists and physicians, technicians, just a broad array of really experts that work towards a common goal. So that's a little bit about me and my current position. My previous other positions have also been, at least professional positions have also been in the military, also for the Army, working in public health. So I have a little bit of a broad background on how I decided to use my, I was going to say biology degree, but I have 3 degrees. I have a bachelor's of science in biology. I have a master's of science also in biology with a special emphasis in molecular biology. And then I have a Ph.D. in microbiology. So a little bit of a more specialization as I got further along in my education. So that's a little bit about me and my current positions and a little bit of my education background.
That's super cool. Where are you from?
I am originally from Austin. Sorry, I'm originally from Austin, born and raised, and I lived there obviously all of my life. Adult life, I was able to get out of Texas and go to grad school. I went to University of Kansas, so Rock Chalk Jayhawks. And then I also went to Colorado State University in Fort Collins. And I lived there for about 5 years. So, and then fortunately I was able to come back to Texas after grad school, and didn't get quite back to Austin, but I got close enough where my family and I have been here in San Antonio for now 10 years.
I'm also in San Antonio.
Yeah, good deal. Well, yes, I've been in San Antonio. Technically now, we moved last year. I live in Schertz, which is a very, suburb, essentially just outside the city limits of San Antonio.
That's nice. So what does a basic day in your job look like?
Wow. Well, it's funny, with our current environment of COVID, one can say BC, before COVID, or after COVID. But I would say all in all, whether it be, before or after COVID, my basic day involves a lot of communication, a lot of nowadays Zoom meetings like we're doing now, a lot of phone calls, a lot of written email communication. But, also very much important in, as a manager of a group of people in science, I'm no longer in the laboratory like I used to be. So, I certainly miss the area quite a bit, and being in the laboratory, getting your hands wet. But nonetheless, my day-to-day activities primarily involve coordinating with my research scientist, overseeing our projects, planning for future projects, trying to secure funding for research, because research is certainly not free. So that's the bulk of my day. So quite a bit of, I would say, just communication.
It's really such an important thing.
Yes.
How much time do you spend just writing or in meetings, traveling?
Good question. Writing, I'd say 80 to 90% of my job involves writing. Both formal writing, obviously scientific papers or maybe research proposals for funding, to, you know, the common email is very important in our communication day to day. And I'm going to back up a bit because I'm remembering a quote. So I forgot to mention earlier my other job. So I technically have two jobs. The first job I told you about, I work for the Army as a capability area manager. My second job is that I'm also a military service member myself. So I'm in the Army Reserves as a scientist. I'm a microbiologist for the Army Reserves. And what sparked that memory, and I apologize, maybe my nervousness, I forgot to mention that, but certainly, you know, definitely part of my, who I am and what I do on a daily basis is part of those two professions definitely make up what I do day to day. But in a relationship to your answer on, you know, my communication and email writing, I had a Army commander tell me once, and not just me, but in a group setting, that email communication does not replace verbal communication. And there's quite a big difference. You know, it's when you're face to face, you get to see, even when we're on video, like you and I are now right now, you get to see a lot of the nuances, right, of your expression, of your body language, of your eyes, if you make eye contact with me. Now, there's a lot of little subtle things that we do as humans, right? It's our daily, how we exist and how we separate ourselves, right, from our from our other vertebrates. But in the email communication gets lost in that. So in my day-to-day communication, since certainly in this COVID environment where I'm not seeing a lot of people face to face, I try to make an extra effort in communicating very clearly in my email writing, because oftentimes that's what we're being, you know, our first impression of people nowadays is usually in some form of a text or an email or some type of other things that I probably don't know of because I'm too old and don't keep up with all of the latest social media stuff. But yeah.
You don't look a day over 22.
Ah, thank you.
What do you like most about your position?
Wow. There's a multitude of things. So I guess twofold. That would be twofold. My first job, in what I've already shared with you, a lot of my main responsibilities is managing a group of scientists. And that, to me, that's really important on the communication that we've already talked about, but really the relationship as I build a team and being a team member as well as a team leader. So to me, that's very important. I also really value what we do in our science. So the population that we serve, service members, Army, Air Force, Marines, etc. Those service members, we have oftentimes unique injuries, unique illnesses, unique chronic and acute diseases that the bulk of American population may or may not face. So through our research, we actually provide a lot of very novel and groundbreaking approaches to very complex things like what we're in now in COVID. You know, historically, you can look at the history of the military and the military's role in I guess I'll broadly categorize it as public health, but way back to smallpox, vaccinations, etc. A lot of that is really stemmed from the military on historically trying to, preserve the fighting force, right? We needed to preserve combatants so that they can go back out into war. So a lot of what we're doing is very, very important. And to me, that's also very important.
That's wonderful. How'd you end up working here in your various positions?
Yeah, in my various positions, well, I'll give the credit to my husband, I think. So when I finished at Colorado State with my Ph.D, I was aligning a few postdocs in the Denver area. My husband was working in the athletic department for the University of Denver. And by God's good grace, I think, he brought us back here to San Antonio because my husband was brought back. He worked at UTSA for, I guess, the first 5 years of our 10 that we've been here in San Antonio. So we were really fortunate. It was definitely a blessing in disguise to come back to Texas, come back to San Antonio. And it was my good fortune, certainly as a reservist and medical officer, to be able to come back and find a position quite easily in my field.
That's, again, wonderful.
Thank you.
Did you have any internships or jobs during college that you found valuable as career builders?
Yes. So, preparing for this video, I've been reflecting quite a bit, right? And I found myself asking, did I know I was going to be doing this when I was, let's say, 10 years old or maybe 15 years old even? Even like you in high school, I don't think I could have quite predicted that I'd be in my current position. But I say that, but because one of my, I don't want to call it an internship. It was a membership in an organization at Southwest Texas, now known as Texas State, where I did my undergraduate. So I guess let me back up just quite a bit. Growing up, I knew I wanted to be in biology. At that time, I think was my dream always to be a physician. Probably because that's really all you hear, right? As a kid, oh, do you want to be a doctor? You're going to be, pediatrician, or the standard kind of physicians. And to me, that was appealing because I liked biology. I liked the study of science in the human body, and because I liked asking why. Why does this happen? How does that work? That was, I think, probably the basis of my interest in biology growing up. And so when I got to college, as an undergraduate, I joined a organization, and I apologize, I don't remember the name of it, but it was a shadowing opportunity where all the pre-med students would pair up with a physician, either like in private practice, or there were several different options. And I joined the group, was really excited, thinking it's exactly what I wanted to do, right? Because I was interested in biology, thought I wanted to maybe be a physician. And through that organization, I was able to shadow a surgeon, and I was able to enter the OR for a live, a real operation. And this is a real funny experience because probably about 15 minutes into the surgery, I woke up probably 30 minutes later because I fainted in the OR room. As this undergraduate student that was so excited, bright-eyed, I wanted to be a physician. And to this day, I'm not exactly sure how that happened. It was probably the first time ever, certainly at that time, 18, 19 years old, fainting, certainly. But I distinctly remember the smell. So I'm a mom of three, and all of my kids jokingly like to tell me that I have very strong, ability to smell, almost like a dog, a canine kind of scent. So it's funny. I guess I've always had it, but I remember standing in that OR room, and the room started to spin, and I couldn't stop it. And I wasn't. It wasn't because of the sight. That didn't bother me at all. It was the smell. To this day, I can probably distinctly remember a lot of smells, and one of those was that time when I fainted. So that was an organization. It wasn't an internship. Obviously it was an opportunity to get involved as a potential physician in a pre-med group. As an undergraduate, I'll be really honest, I didn't have too many opportunities to have an internship. I had to work. I'm a first generation college student, first one in not only my immediate family, probably, I was trying to remember that as well. I'm a fourth generation born American. My family originates from Mexico. So I've been in America so long, that we don't even remember at what point, we kind of immigrated to America from Mexico. And so in that kind of existence of as a first generation trying to figure it out, I also had to figure out a way to pay for college. So I didn't have too many opportunities as an undergraduate to go do an internship on the weekend or anything like that. So I worked a lot, had a lot of jobs. I worked at 7-Eleven. I worked at Whataburger. I worked at, I cleaned yards, I cleaned houses. I did whatever job it was necessary to keep me in college. So I didn't have too much of an opportunity to do internships besides a couple of student groups.
Well, congratulations. Your hard work really paid off.
Yes, thank you.
What's your best piece of advice for middle and high school students as they aspire to be you?
To get involved. There's no substitute of getting involved in groups where you're meeting other people, you're getting outside your house, you're doing things literally outside, or, thinking of like marine biology. I remember I kind of explored that as well because my hobbies, I love sports, I love to fish, and I like being outside. I used to camp a lot when I was young. So I actually kind of explored marine biology for a little bit and was really interested, but it was that ability to be able to join groups, just getting involved with other student groups or looking across things. It's funny in my mind, I can think of several quotations. I already mentioned one about my previous commander in the Army, talking about, email and not being formal communication. Another thing I've heard of time and time again, kind of being around a lot of military people, and I've heard it also elsewhere, but if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. So whether it be high school, undergraduate, graduate student, if you find yourself really comfortable, that means you're not growing. So, try to be as uncomfortable, of course, as possible. What does that mean? I think maybe, we get the jargon of scientists being introverts and we don't like to be around a lot of people. And I think I kind of fell into that category. But because of my experiences, I now really enjoy people. And obviously, I'm a manager of a group of people now. So I don't think I ever would have imagined that as a high school student, and undergraduate. But it was me being uncomfortable by getting involved that, you know, helped me be better.
That's so cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It was nice talking to you.
Likewise.